what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Falling in love. You set my wheels in motion. I'm going crazy for you. Eyes blue like the ocean. I can see you want this too. Cause you've been looking at me all night, trying to figure me out. I just wanna let you know. And I ain't playing no games, baby, you won't change. I only want you. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing, that's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love.
It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's so awesome to see all of you on our Tuesday night lives. I've missed your beautiful faces. Yeah, and it's Tuesday book club. I should have planned snacks. I didn't think about snacks because my real in-person book club is always snackish. Actually, my book club here, we have literary lunch. We actually go out to lunch and talk about the book, which is even better. Someone asked who read both of the books. Me. I did. Tech guy, you want to jump in? I'm putting it on
Not
the hot
really.
seat. Huh?
Not
Get on in
really.
here. Get on in here.
No, I didn't. I didn't even finish my book.
It's okay. We said there's no shame in
Where's
this
the
book club.
boo?
What?
I don't have a boo. I don't have a
You're gonna boo
boo.
yourself.
I don't have a boo sound effect. I just have here's a baby
Yeah.
crying.
Aw. There's no shame in this book club, and I already said anyone who comes can participate. There might be some spoilers, but you're okay with spoilers too, yeah?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what does my earring look like? When your earrings are a certain way, it looks like a famous Carol Burnett episode of Gone with the Wind. Oh, that's funny. I don't know. It might, they're like macrame. Isn't that funny? I'm going to have to look up the Carol Burnett episode. George, how are you feeling? I know you've been sick. No good. Anna, you started my book or you read mine and started the Tech Guys. In fairness, I had already read the Marlow Murder Club this summer. And so I just have spent the last week or so. I finished this morning though, because I was also reading for my in-person book club. So I had to binge this one, but it is, it's totally binge worthy, I think. The curtains dress, Jennifer Gallagher. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up. There's absolutely no judgment if you didn't read both of them. If you didn't finish, it's all just for fun. It's okay, Lily. Like, we just want to be here and talk books and spend time together. So it's all good. Went with the wind. You'll follow for yourself laughing at it, Joseph. Okay, I'm in. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it all. The Gone with the Wind episode, Kelly. How do I not know about this? I'm so excited. So here's how it's going to work tonight. We both put together questions about our respective books, but mainly the goal is just to have it be a discussion. So chime in, add your thoughts. The first thing that I want to ask is, let's all have cake. It's your birthday tomorrow. That's right, Lily. Chocolate cake always, 100%. Let's start the night by talking about the Marlow Murder Club first, because one of my goals, our goals, the Tech Guy too, in doing this book club is to, for ourselves, read more, obviously, and also for all of us in the group to read more. But I still want things to be cozy, and I feel like this is a good example of something that falls in the cozy category. It's more of a traditional mystery, I would say. And I feel like the Tech Guy's pick is the same way, but we'll get deeper into that. But my first question, do you have this slide ready, Tech Guy? Is what are your initial thoughts of the Marlow Murder Club? Did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it to a friend? And who would that friend be that you would recommend this to? I would recommend this series to any of my friends who love mysteries. Certainly anyone who likes a book set in the English countryside. He also is the writer for Death in Paradise, which I didn't know prior to reading this, but it makes so much sense now. Tech Guy has a disadvantage because we're mainly women. I know, it's true. Cherry says Robert Thorogood is a TV writer. It will make a good TV show. It was fun, lots of humor. The characters are very interesting. Yeah, I felt like there were parts of it that were almost written for the screen. Like that's what he was thinking going into it almost. Diana says the characters in Marlow were wonderful. Yeah, they were definitely rich, I feel like. Laura, you would recommend it to your Graham if she was still here. Death in Paradise is my favorite too, Jennifer. It's so good. Laura, you loved it and you recommended it to your mom. It's right up her alley. Taylin, you read it at the pool at Palm Springs this May. I'll close my eyes and picture being there again. Yeah, right? It seems like a perfect poolside read. George, you thought it, I always love if we have dissenting opinions too. I was not enthusiastic when I started. You thought it was too Marple-ish, and then you just read the entire series and you zoom through. Okay, I haven't read anything yet. I haven't read the second. I think there are 3 out now. Is that right? I haven't continued with the series because I just read this summer. Anyone who loves mysteries and humor. Yeah, right? I'm curious to hear thoughts about it. Anna, you thought the characters were very relatable. Would recommend it as a host of your Litzy book club to your 2024 books. Oh, I'm super happy to read that. My second question kind of taglines with this, and it is about Judith Potts. So Judith Potts is she's not your typical detective, sleuth, etc. I mean, that first scene where she's out swimming in the Thames naked, I was like, I'm already hooked on this book. But how do you feel like her background and personality give her a unique, make her unique and engaging as a character? And what role do you think her age and life experience play into her approach in solving crimes? I think this is fascinating that in mystery trends right now, there has been this shift to sort of a more elder sleuth, like going back, like George said, to a Miss Marple. And I would say for the last 10 or 15 years, there has just been a desert when it comes to elderly sleuths, and that's really changed. Publishing houses are buying these up like crazy right now, which I appreciate. I think I've read 5 or 6 books this year that feature a more seasoned and wise character, which I really enjoy. I enjoy all levels of the spectrum, but I think it's fun that we're seeing that shift go back. I hope when I'm old, I'll be able to swim naked, right, Taylin? I know. Who doesn't want to be able? Jennifer, she's nosy. Yes. She doesn't care what people think of her, which makes her the perfect sleuth. I could not agree more. Like, her filter's gone. She's like, I have to solve this crime. I'm going to do it no matter what. Diane, the imagery of Judith in only a cape, yes, is very special. Totally. Like, that goes back to, I think, Cherry's point of this could be a TV show or a movie eventually. Like, that scene just felt like, okay, I can totally picture being there. MB, you're loving the trend of elder sleuths. Yes. Joseph, I feel like she is a little bit like Jessica Fletcher, like the British version of Jessica Fletcher, certainly. And there's something so freeing about that, I think, because she's not inhibited. She's not inhibited. She makes terrible choices as a sleuth too, which is great because from a writing perspective, we want to constantly put our protagonists in harm's way. We don't want them to just be sitting at home staring out the window. We want them to be in danger, and she certainly finds ways to insert herself into the investigation and put herself in harm's way many, many times. George, she entirely made the book for you. She pulls no punches. She's hilarious. Yes, that don't care attitude. Laura, I love that she's wearing that cape and just doing her own thing. Yes. And I like the side of the locked door in her house. Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. Okay. Yes, let's talk about that in a second. But before we jump to that, let's also talk about her sidekicks, because it's not just Judith. We also have her unlikely partnership with Bex and Susie. So if you need a refresher, if you haven't read it for a little while, Susie is the dog walker and Bex is the vicar's wife. And I feel like pretty early on, we get the sense that Bex is maybe like Instagram perfect. What she's putting out in the world is this very polished idea of who she's supposed to be as the vicar's wife. And she's likely not very happy putting on this external persona of who she thinks people want her to be. And I feel like Susie's a little rougher around the edges, but she has such an attachment to the dogs. I'm curious about what you thought of this as a threesome in terms of a crime solving trio. And if either of the secondary characters resonated with you as much as Judith did. Yes, you love, Laura says, I love that the detective, yes, what is it, DC Malik is pretty much in the case. We'll talk about that a little bit too. Lenny, Bex is dynamic for sure. Yes. Amy, you love Bex. She needed this in her life. Yeah, she definitely needed something to like crack her open and break her out of this like world that she's been living in too. Beth, you like that they balanced each other out. I agree. There was like this idea of how they're all learning from each other too, which going back to the idea, sorry to the amazing men in our group too, and anyone who identifies in another way, but there is also this sense of kind of that generational connection between these women and how they're sharing their wisdom in different ways, which I adored that piece. Linda, you can see a friendship between Judith and Susie and Bex, but the developing friendship between Susie and Bex is interesting. I agree. That'll be, if I'm curious who else is going to read on. George has already finished the rest of the series or what's out. I will be very curious because I'm definitely committed to wanting to continue to read the series to see how those develop for sure.
George meant that he read the whole Marple series, not this whole series.
Oh, the whole Marvel series. Okay, I missed that. The comments are going by too fast. Sorry. Kara, I love their shenanigans. Yes, breaking into the realtor's office killed me too. I was like, don't do it. Oh, but do it. I kind of want to see. But wait, back. George, Bex was kind of a downer for me until she used the sword. I mean, come on, when you break out the sword. Yes, 100%. Yes. Okay, this is a tiny bit of a segue. Wait, I gotta see Lenny's thought first. Susie's the friend that constantly pushes you beyond your comfort zone. I feel like for me, Susie is like the Lance of my writing, and I understand why Robert chose a character like that because Susie is going to push the envelope and get everybody even more so out of their comfort zone, which I think is interesting. The burnt toast. Oh my gosh, the burnt toast. Yeah, that whole scene where you're just like, what are you all doing? But that's how I would act in solving a crime or trying to. Okay, so this is more from like a technicality perspective. Like I said at the beginning, everything that we're going to pick and read for this book club is going to be in the general cozy vein. So it might not be something that is like so punny like my books, Catch Me If You Candy, or you know right away that it's cozy. But neither of us are going to pick anything that is super dark or gruesome in any way, shape, or form. Like everything that we want to read and share is going to be under the cozy umbrella. But I'm curious what your thoughts are in terms of kind of the structure, because we're all mystery lovers at some level. Do you think that this book is technically a traditional mystery? And I ask this because from my perspective, in some ways, it almost is plotted. It's not a thriller in any way, shape, or form, but it's plotted in the same way a thriller is, I feel like, because Judith from the very beginning is pretty honed in on who she thinks the killer is, and she spends the rest of the book trying to prove that point, which is what happens in a thriller. In a thriller, we know from the get-go, for the most part, usually, who did it, and then it's the chase of trying to track them down. Whereas with a traditional mystery, we don't know who the killer is, and the whole way through, we're trying to piece together who they are. So I feel like he almost blended those. I don't know. Did anyone else pick up on that? Is that just too much of my writer brain getting inserted in there? And then we also, unlike kind of a more traditional cozy, we have a higher body count in this one too. So I'm curious to see what you thought about that. And if we go back to Agatha Christie, Miss Marple, the body counts were high. I mean, then there were none. I think there's a lot of blood and guts. But I'm very curious to see your thoughts on that. Taylin, she drank her whiskey every day. Yeah. Diane, you thought of it as a traditional versus a cozy. Yeah, exactly. There are multiple POVs. There are multiple points of view. Also true, Cherry, which happens, in mysteries sometimes, but not always. I think that breaks the mold a little bit for sure. Jennifer, we did not know really for sure who the killer is. Amanda, you love being inside Judith's head. I do too. Yeah, I thought that was one of the best parts. Sharon, the ending was scary. I know. That's the whole, you got to put them in peril. It was good. We need that. Laura, you felt like it was a blending. Yeah, we don't, it's not so telegraphed that we don't still stay on our toes and keep guessing with them. But I did feel like there was a touch, and I'm just curious if he did that intentionally. Was that kind of his idea to sort of mash up the concept of the of the genre? Jill, who did it was a surprise. George, you were kind of torn, but after finishing, I realized the mystery and thriller aspects were intertwined. I mean, that was my takeaway from it. And I mean, obviously, a true thriller, you're going to have a lot more heart pounding chase scenes and things like that. But I felt like there was a touch of it. Amanda, it was very Hitchcockian. Yeah. And you felt like it was a traditional mystery. Yeah. Dog lovers like you might be a bit sad with one of the storylines. I know, Beth. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. I thought. Sorry, what's that?
I said, I was listening to all this, going, "Wow, I actually want to read this one." But now with that line, I'm like, "Nope, not going to read it." Mm-hmm. If a dog dies in this book, I'm going to be so angry.
I don't know if I'm giving away that spoiler.
Yeah.
April says, if it's cozy, I kind of expect that something nice will happen after the mystery is solved. Yeah, I agree. Or that you're left with I feel like cozy in general, be it a cozy romance, a cozy thriller, a cozy mystery, whatever. If we're cozy sci-fi, which is the other thing some of us read this month, you're going to leave with closure potentially, and some sense of hope, that the world is still okay, which I felt like we got at the end of the book. Joseph wants to know. Yeah, I know. Laura, should we let him off the hook with that? Yeah. It's a tale of a dog who died in the past. Yes, it's not in the present murder, but if you're a big dog lover, it's a bit sad. Where are you tonight, Tech Guy?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll call it the Wayfarer for tonight, but yeah, it's the Millennium Falcon tonight.
Make it happen. Okay, I'm curious about Detective Sergeant Malik's character. What did you, or Malik maybe? What did you think of her as a detective? I think, in this way, she definitely falls into the vein of a cozy mystery, in that she gives the sleuths her case notes. She involves them in a way that the professor and Thomas and Carrie do in my books that would never happen in real life with a pastry chef. And what I think is really interesting from a publishing perspective, right? So if you go into the mystery aisle and you see one of my covers, or you see a Kate Carlisle or a Jen McKinley or a Reese Bowen or a Jennifer Chow, like you name it, like just name any cozy author, you know right away it's cozy based on the cover. But with something like this, the publishing house is billing it sort of as a more traditional mystery. They're billing it to a wider, broader audience. And people who might traditionally read thrillers and things that are darker, maybe detective fiction, hard-boiled noir. You're trying to pull the publishing house. When I'm saying the publishing house is trying to pull a much broader audience. And after I read the book, I went and looked up reviews. I always do that. I go to Goodreads after I read it, and I'm always curious to see like, oh, what did other readers think? How does it compare with my reading of the novel? I never read them in advance because I don't want to be tainted. But, this book has close to 30,000 reviews. And for comparison, my books maybe have like 5,000 reviews just because it's being pushed to such a bigger audience. But one of the things that I read consistently in some of the reviews where readers weren't as enthusiastic about it was that they didn't appreciate that DC Malik is involving the women in her investigation. And that's sort of a paramount piece of the cozy. So for me, it didn't bother me at all. But I think maybe for people who are used to a more traditional line of a detective versus a meddling sleuth, it was too unbelievable, which I think is interesting. Let's see. Anna, you want to know more of her? Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see. I have the sense that is probably going to develop as the series goes on, but we'll have to see. Laura Malik's backstory is hinted at, but she can learn and grow from Judith's influence. I feel like he's setting us up for that for sure. Amanda, you like how the author gave you a look into her life and how overwhelmed and out of her depth she felt like she was. Yeah, so I mean, to me, that's that piece of her naturally maybe gravitating toward Judith in particular, this older, wiser woman who is also just unafraid to be like, hey, I saw this. You need to go check this out. We're going to go over here next. Yeah. The cover reminds you of Anthony Horowitz's books. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and so that's where you would probably find this book if you're looking like shelf space wise. It's going to be shelved over by Anthony or anyone who's kind of in that broader mystery vein, which is great. But I do think there's a con to that too, in that then you're probably getting readers who, if they knew going into it that there's this cozy element, they might not be as upset. I mean, if you think about Miss Marple, she's always inserting herself into a crime. So it's not unheard of. But I just think we've kind of segmented out how mysteries are categorized, broken down, and marketed these days. And so there's that piece of it. Nancy, she got better. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of room for growth too. What else? I like the detective. I agree. Anne says that what she shared with the ladies was not realistic. No, of course it's not. But then how are we going to get them involved and out, sleuthing around town? So that's the piece. Okay, a couple more things we have to talk about, and then I have to leave time to talk about the Tech Guys book because wow, there's so much to unpack there. This book incorporates an element of Judith's past and her backstory, her relationship with Tom. And it's hinted at the very beginning. And we learn at the end what the truth is. Were you curious about that that backstory? Were you surprised at the end? Basically from the get-go, I was pretty convinced that there was something nefarious and shady going on in that locked room with the key. And when we got to the end and we learned the truth about her relationship with Tom, it sort of all made sense. But Judith, she's got her own demons in the closet, which also I think as a character informs us as to why perhaps she might be very interested in inserting herself into this investigation. It's time for a new genre, Sherry. Cozy adjacent. Yes, that's right. Gretchen, it was like the Thursday Murder Club. I read the first in that series earlier this summer, and I felt like there were a lot of parallels, which also happens in publishing and just how the book world works. It's like the same kinds of concepts get birthed into being at similar times. I always find that fascinating. Or, just kind of those trends in the early 2000s, maybe like, I don't know, 2005. no one was wanting to buy anything vampire-ish. No fangs in the neck is what my agent would say, because Twilight had just happened and everything was getting pitched as like a Twilight cozy. And you weren't seeing a lot of elderly sleuths, and this kind of throwback to the golden age of mysteries, maybe. And so now, like, the pendulum has swung again, and now we're seeing a lot more paranormal cozies coming out and a lot of crossovers happening. Nicole, I thought there was going to be a dead body in there too. Oh my gosh, I was so convinced there were going to be bones in there. Yeah, I was kind of glad that there weren't. Laura, you were curious. You were shocked by the end and how she tied it together. Yes. Nancy, it does suit her. I think it tells us so much about her personality. I totally agree. Amanda, I love that all three were imperfect humans who had a touch of darkness in their past. Yes, exactly. I think that's what makes them so rich as characters and as then potential sleuths, because it gives them a motivation and sort of this internal need or desire to bring justice to the world, perhaps because they're trying to erase some level of guilt or shame that they might carry themselves. So yeah, so good. Okay, and then my last question for this book is, how did you feel about the resolution of the main mystery? Did you end up feeling satisfied? Were all the loose ends tied up? Was there anything that left you wanting more? For me, the wanting more at the end was feeling an attachment already to the characters, wanting to know more about each of them, particularly Detective Sergeant Malik. I really want to know more about her past. I'm going to be curious to see if Tom's murder, if that thread comes through more as the series develops. Are we going to get more flashbacks? Are we going to learn more about kind of the time in between, or was that just enough to set us up to give us insight into Judith? I'm not sure. Anne Litwick says, I was curious about what was behind the door and showed at the end. I'm more curious if the secrets will be unveiled in other books. Me too. It had to be that way. Yeah, there were so many alibis, and we are all our own alibi tonight. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Such a great name. I love this group. Is just so creative, so clever, so creative. I can't take it. MB, you want to know more about the characters? The mystery was wrapped up. Yeah, I feel like it's true. George, you were still confused about some of the conclusions and how Judith came up with them. I felt like there was a touch of that too, that there could have been a little more showing us how she had gone from one leap to the other. I think maybe some of that seemed to be happening in her head and it didn't make its way on the page a few times. Yeah. Anna, you thought it was an okay ending, but it left it open for a sequel, which was, yes, exactly. Cherry, do we think it's okay that Judith got away with murder? I mean, is this sort of an ethical thread? That's what I'm saying, that we're going to explore, or he's going to explore in future books. Is it okay based on the way that Tom treated her? I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and that's why I'm very curious to see what happens in subsequent readings. And you're very eager to keep reading. You have the second one on hold. Yay. Cajun Peach, you love the ending. You want to get to know them more. Me too. I mean, I love the quirkiness of the characters, and I think he's set it up so each of them have enough of a past and a history that there's some good, rich material to work with as it continues to grow. Gretchen, you learned you could not do British crosswords. Oh, yeah, I know, right? There's something. Can you hear that calling outside? Do you hear that, tech guy? I don't know what that is.
That's a delivery truck. It's the backup alarm.
It sounds like a angry crow or something. That's hilarious. The crosswords were the best, Tammy. I know, and all of that British slang and everything. I had to look up a few words, which is always fun. Okay, let's see. Should we move on to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers? Whew, this is the tech guy's pick. Are you going to come join in for this part of the chat? Okay.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
what I can.
For what you can. It's all good. So I did not know, because my friend Kelly recommended another novella by Becky Chambers, A Psalm for the Wild Built, that I read in like February. It's short and beautiful. It's about a tea monk and an AI and kind of a future that is semi-near to Earth. And I adored it. And when you picked this one, it wasn't until I saw her name that I realized it's the same author. And for me, I feel like she's going to be an auto-buy author for me from now on. I just absolutely love her writing. It felt a lot like Firefly,
Yeah, yeah.
which we both loved.
It felt like that, and honestly, the Murderbot series to me, because of the inclusion of AI and just how that played into it.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got to start with the first question, which is the same. If you read it, like, what are your thoughts? How did you feel about the book? Did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it to a friend? And who would you recommend it to? I feel like I would recommend it to, even if someone wasn't a sci-fi fan, I would probably recommend it to them because I feel like she speaks so much just to humanity and relationships in this very beautiful, deep way. I feel like her writing reminds me a little bit too of Ursula Le Guin, who I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
I might not. I think for you, and maybe this is one of the things, because I read hardier books. It's big. It's 400 and how many pages? I might have to put my glasses on for this. 400.
No, but no, I know what you're going to say. A few people have said that in the thing, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to pick the book I want to pick, and it's long, but it's good, and I just like there was stuff happening that that got in the way, so I didn't get the chance to read it. But I mean,
No,
most
but I was going to
readers would be
say,
able to get through this.
I probably wouldn't recommend it to somebody who doesn't want like a giant read, though. I would recommend A Psalm for the Wild Built to somebody who was like, because that's more like a Martha Wells. So I really thought that piece was beautiful.
Well, if people thought it was long, they're really going to hate my next pick.
Let's see. All the disdain. Laura, you got tired of all the disdain for humans throughout the book. Oh, that's interesting. Tammy, it touches on race, gender, disability, age, so many other issues. Yes. Okay. Well, let's get into it. How did the book feel cozy for you is my next question. Do you have that? Yeah, perfect. So I've watched a bunch of videos and read a lot about Becky Chambers, and she in the sci-fi world is like a current champion of the idea of coziness. She has spoken at length about embracing all things cozy. She's been deemed part of a group of writers who are like on a cozy sci-fi revolution. And I feel like this book, even though it's sci-fi, hits all of the notes of coziness. You have Dr. Chef with his boring tea and his sweetbreads, and he's constantly feeding people. All of the characters are really looking out for each other and care about each other despite their differences, which I feel like speaks to the idea of what we pull away from a cozy mystery, where you care about the entire community and their relationships. Laura, her characters were all very much at home in this voyage. Yes. MB, you read and listened to it. A book club friend recommended it earlier in the year and you enjoyed it. Yes. Nicole also thought it was similar to Murderbot. Yeah, I agree. I felt like there was so much coziness with it. Valerie, I missed what George said. Your imagination failed you on this one. Tammy, Dr. Chef wasn't diminished for being a chef and a doctor. I know, I love that. Like, and food and like how he cared about people was part of his nurturing as a doctor.
What George said was this, which I can see because this does happen a lot with sci-fi. If they're are a bunch of non-humans because you have to do a massive explanation of their bodies, their abilities, their mannerisms, everything, and then you're having to remember that all throughout the book. And then occasionally, depending on how good the writer is, one of the non-human characters will do something where you're like, wait, how were they able to do that? Like I didn't know that they had this ability. So I thought she did a good job of I've read some sci-fi where it was much harder to track, but yeah,
But
I can.
and there are a lot of characters in this one too.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Yeah.
all the people they meet on the different worlds that they visit too. So, I a couple times fell asleep at night. I read at night. So the next day I would have
Couple
to go back and
times,
do a
yeah.
little do a little refresher of like who was who.
Yeah.
Okay, but that leads me into my next question, which is about found family. Like, how did you feel like the crew of the Wayfarer support each other in spite of their differences? They're all very different, but they seem to have this ability to recognize that they are on this ship together. They're sort of all they have, and they have to figure it out. You know, we have Ashby being like a father figure to the entire crew. We have Corbin being the one who at the end decides that Ohan can't die. I mean, I did not see that coming at all. Sissix, I don't know if that's how we pronounce her name. She immediately just wraps Rosemary under her wing. How they all respond to Rosemary's secret, how they care for Jenks when Jenks loses the love of his life. I mean, there's so much connection between each of the characters, even though they are so incredibly different and perhaps in any other world would not connect.
They had a common goal, right? I mean, they were
Right.
all they living in close quarters does that. I feel like, and that's what made it very Firefly-ish, because that crew, even though they were humans, they were very connected, even though they were different. You know.
Right, absolutely. Okay, what does George say? Halfway through, there were some pretty thought-provoking things about seeding the universe to get a different species. The one real banger, the idea that a loss of potential, a young person dying was, I have that. Oh my gosh, I dog-eared that. I know, sorry. Look at that. I dog-eared, that's one of the sections I dog-eared too. Was somehow worse than the loss of an achievement and knowledge of an elder person. Oh, it still gives me goosebumps. I know. I felt like there were so many things like that that I pulled out of this read for sure. Laura, Corbin was the uncle you have to put up with because he's family. Yes, absolutely. Tammy, I know, and so little shaming, which I loved.
This is true too. Like, you know, Ashby like definitely knew how to put them together, put the crew together. Could
I
see
know.
the
Um, okay, let's see. Let's move on to wormholes and interstellar travel. Could you picture, going back to picturing, you know, these crews and everything, could you picture what it might look like to live in this time with them? And but while you're answering that, I want to read you a little section, another page that I dog-eared. Sorry, because I love the juxtaposition of this. Ashby leaned over the mail crate. There was one small flat package remaining, addressed to himself. The label had no indication of who had sent it, but it required a wrist strap scan. A flap snapped open and his wrist passed over it, and a frail rectangular object fell into his waiting palm. What is that? Sissix asked. Jinx let out a low whistle and stepped closer. That's paper. Kizzy's head snapped up. Whoa, she said. It's a letter, like a physical one? She jumped to her feet. Can I touch it? Jinx smacked her hand away. You've got fire shrimp crumbs all over your finger. And then it just goes on and it talks about how the paper is made from thin sheets of dried tree pulp and the experience of how someone must love you so much to spend that kind of money on something as valuable as paper. I just love the juxtaposition of the idea of they're like in the future, and yet paper is this prized, amazing gift.
Yeah, you know, somebody here will remember. I don't, but I'm almost positive that that was a Firefly thing too. That paper was a
Was it?
real commodity in like it was very rare and very expensive. I maybe I'm confusing it with something else, but I like when I read, I almost thought that was taken from that, and it goes back to that whole thing of you with like ideas just kind of being, you know, similar ideas being born into the universe. It's like, yeah, somebody said, oh, it's Beth, that we need a Firefly discussion someday too. We should do that. That'd
Yeah,
be a great
we
series
should.
to watch again.
What were your thoughts on wormholes and interstellar travel, though?
Oh, I mean, that's definitely going to. I mean, it'd be great to see it in my lifetime. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it would be amazing to like get to see or experience a universe where there was just an incredible diversity of life out there, and that you could get from point to point, you know, very quickly. It would just be, I mean, it would open the world up.
And then it seems so dangerous on top of it. Like they're
Well,
doing
sure. I
crazy
mean, it would
work.
be, yeah, it would be, but that almost felt like, you know, the like early explorers and everything going out. You know, they had no idea. They're get on a ship and go out into the ocean. They have no idea what was going to happen, and they did it. Unfortunately, some really bad things happened too. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, it's a bit of both. Okay. And then the other thing we have to talk about is how AI plays into the story, because we have an entire character who is an AI. And I'm fascinated by this because I learned after the fact that Becky Chambers wrote this in like 2012. This was a Kickstarter campaign that she did. And then obviously it just rocket launched out into space and became an amazing series. But she wrote this long before actually living in the age of AI that we're living in now. And I thought the way that she handled AI was so fascinating. And Lovey, this is a bit of a spoiler for anyone who didn't finish, but Lovey the AI dies at the end. And I was tearing up. I was tearing up for Jinx. I was tearing up for the crew. Like, I was tearing up for how Ashby talks about Lovey when he goes to present in front of the Council of the Galaxy, whatever it's called. Um, I just, it wasn't the normal way that I feel like AI was portrayed. And it kind of opened me up a little bit too, because obviously there are amazing things about AI that are happening, and then there are really scary things too. And I thought this was a fascinating take. I would also be so interested to know what she thinks now when we're actually living in a time when AI it's here. What about for you, Tech Guy?
yeah. I mean, you know me. I'm a big proponent of AI, so I it fascinates me. It's more about just the how it's being built, and the concepts behind it and everything. To get to see an AI like this, and this is a theme throughout a number of sci-fi, you know, popular sci-fi stories and storylines. I mean, Murderbot, actually, the Murderbot series is another example of this, where the AI takes on this personality and connects with humans in ways that you just wouldn't think are possible. This part of the book, at least the part that I've gotten through so far, I'm not looking forward to the end. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Well, and then Jinx trying to get a body for, I mean,
Right.
just there were so many levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Well,
does
and that was the piece that connected it for me, because that, like in Murderbot, there, like that is what is happening, is there is AI inside these physical forms. So it's yeah, it's an interesting concept, and one that we will probably see at some point.
I think so, maybe sooner than later. Tammy says, you thought it was a deep commentary on brain injury and dementia too. I was definitely picking up those themes as well. Yeah, I know. And the decision to leave is made by Lovey within 2 3/4 hours. And then Loveless comes on, and then, they decide that maybe Loveless is going to be too hard for Jinx, that everybody rallies around him. I mean, there's just such beautiful tone in it. Which takes me to my last question about the book, which is, do you feel like the tone was hopeful? I think this is the piece, even more so maybe than the connections between the characters, that makes this feel like a cozy sci-fi read to me. At the end, there is this idea that everyone's okay. The world, the universe is okay at some level. I was left anyway, feeling that sense of hope because of their commitment and connection to each other, because of the way they're caring for their own little corner of space, as I would say in my books. And it felt hopeful in a way that a lot of sort of dystopian sci-fi feels heavy and daunting, and like I don't even want to imagine that future. This didn't feel like that for me, but I'm curious to hear how it felt for you. Um, Yes, a reminder that there are always good people. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, MB, I felt like that was one of the resounding themes, that no matter our differences, we're getting along. And that feels really uh, resonant right now in this moment with everything that's going on in the world. Nicole was very hopeful. Yes, that they're going to continue to be there for each other. And this is book one of a series. So will you read it? Will you keep reading? Like with the Marlow Murder Club, do you feel like you're compelled enough to want to keep reading? I know there are 2 books in the series. And I'm guessing maybe that's it, because she wrote them such a long time ago and she's moved on to other stuff. But I'm definitely going to continue to read the series for sure. How about you, Tech Guy?
Yeah, I will. I got to finish this one, and I already have the other books in the series on my Kindle. So
That's awesome. It's 4 books, Tammy? Okay, even better. That's exciting. And if you're looking for a shorter read, and you want to try something that's cozy and sci-fi, but you don't have the commitment to 450 pages, try, I should have had you put up a slide for it, but try, I think I took a picture of it when I read it last winter, A Psalm for the Wild Built, because it's just beautiful.
it
And you
sitting
get
here somewhere.
do you have it?
I'll be right back.
You get all of her style and coziness, and her lens on humanity and connection in a very cozy way, but it's a short, compact, beautiful read. Yay, I'm so excited that you're going to read more. That's awesome. Oh, look at that. Okay, there it is.
I'm not sure the camera will do it. Whoa, look at that. Wow.
Woo, that's funny.
Anyway, yeah.
That's like
If
magic. Do it again.
Me, yeah. A
Do it
song
again.
for the Wild Belt.
Show how small it is too.
Oh, it's
It's tiny.
yeah.
It's perfect.
The book that I'm gonna pick next is this one.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I hope this has been such a great discussion for me.
Breaking news.
Murder Club is going to be on PBS. No way, Amy. We called it. We knew it from the start. I love it.
Somebody very early on, I missed the comment, so if it was you, please post it again. I'll try to catch it this time. But somebody said they had heard who the lead character was going to be played by.
Oh,
I can't remember who said it now.
This makes my night. I'm definitely doing a happy dance. Okay, so we're going to get Judith swimming in the Thames naked. Ugh, I'm so excited. Did anyone read Lessons in Chemistry? That's coming this week. It might be tomorrow. Brie Larson is in the lead for that role, and I cannot wait. I think that's on Apple TV. I'm so excited for that too.
Samantha Bond.
Do I know?
Yeah, it was Lisa that posted that.
Bond. I can't visualize. Is she a British actor? I'm gonna have to look her up, Lisa Rowe. I mean, would I know her from like all the BBC shows? I'm super excited. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dame Judith, that would be amazing. Sharon, that would be so great. Anyway, yay. Okay, that makes my night. Now I really have to I want to read the rest of the series before it comes out because I always want to read the book first. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to talk about what's next. Oh, I was just going to say thanks. Thanks for reading with us, and thanks for this lively discussion. It's always so great to be able to talk to someone else after I've read a book, because otherwise that's why I have to go on Goodreads and be like, okay, what did other people think? Oh, she's the aunt in Downton Abbey. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Okay, I know exactly who she is. That's perfect casting. That's great.
She played Monica, yeah.
Let's see. What's next on our list, tech guy?
For the
the slides.
Talking about the
next book. There we are. Okay, my pick, sticking with this idea of cozy, is I'm going to call this one a cozy thriller. A cozy thriller. It's a big one too. But it's a fast read. Apples Never Fall by Lane. I'm not sure how you say her first name, Moriarty. She wrote Big Little Lies, which I have not read, nor have I seen the show, but I've heard great things about it. This is set in Australia. It is very focused on family dynamics. It's a little grittier than a cozy, but not in any way, shape, or form is this one gonna there's nothing about it that is going to haunt you at night. Let's say that. It still feels very much in the vein of a cozy because it kept me turning the page. I had a very clear vision of what was going to happen in the book, and I cannot wait to talk about the ending. Like, I have to bite my thumb because I want to just talk about it right now. Really fantastic. So, yes, that's my pick. Tech guy, how about you?
Wait, you picked a book that you've already read again?
Yeah, I said I'm going to pick a book that I've already read every time because
Okay.
I want to make sure that it's something that, readers are not going to be like,
I know, I
that
get
a
it.
dog,
It's
like no
totally
dogs are going to die in this book. Okay. I can't do that because then you'll all murder me.
okay. Well, I picked John Dies at the End because I really want to see this movie. And I want to read the book
tonight.
first.
Okay. Is it already a movie?
I think so, yes, because this came out. This came out a while ago. By the time I look up at the screen, 18 people will have answered. But this came out in 2009, so yeah, I'm guessing that since the book cover is a movie poster right there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joseph says, are you channeling President Bartlett? I don't know, but President Bartlett forever, first of all, West Wing. But I'm not sure what that's in relationship to. Lily, you won't have to hide under your blanket, too afraid to turn the page for The Apple Never Falls. But it's tense and it's scary, and it reads slightly more like a thriller, but in a very cozy way. There's a lot of family dynamics and relationships to unpack. I had not read anything by her. My friend Erin recommended this one. She's like, you have to read it. I don't know why. Like Big Little Lies, I know it's gotten great reviews, but I just haven't personally been compelled to add that to my reading or my viewing list. But after reading this, I'm changing my mind on that. So there you go. Kelly, you put it on hold.
Now I want to read it even more.
What's that?
John Dies is also a series, it looks like. So.
Hey. Ellie's book was available, and Tech Guys has a waiting list at your library. Okay, yay. Score, Diane. I love it. Yeah, it's always nice, I think, to pick a read that's been out for a little while, too, because oftentimes you can find it at the library. The holds aren't quite as long. Cherry, what did you think of Big Little Lies in the series? Beth, it rocks. Okay, see, I'm gonna have to get on it. She is a relationship storyteller, Kelly. That's a great way to describe it, which is why I feel like this falls in the cozy vein too. Very exciting. Love it. Spoiler alert, John.
Good one. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. Nice.
Oh, wait, I should have done this.
Book club is my alibi. All right, let's see. Coming up next,
Well, first we got to do it. She loves it when I do this, but it is how you make a living. So
That's right. Yes. It is out now. If you're looking for a Halloween read, it's perfect timing to read this one for sure. Grab it at your local library, your favorite independent bookstore, wherever books are sold, blah, blah, blah. A Smoking Bun. Very nice. This comes out in February, I believe.
it's right there.
Thank you. I was going to say, don't make me come up with a date. It comes out in February. This one is set up at the top of Mount Ashland. It's going to have all the winter coziness and a lot of delicious bun recipes. And I just delivered book 19. This is book 18. I just delivered book 19, which will come out next August. And I'm going to start book 20 in the next few weeks. So there's a lot more baking in the Bake Shop Mysteries, which is so exciting. Okay. And then in terms of upcoming events, the Ashland Mystery Fest live and in person. I'm going to get to hug your beautiful faces. I cannot wait. It's going to be like one giant street party in Ashland. I have been obsessively checking the weather app, and you can only see, what is it, like 10 days in advance. So starting tomorrow, I'll be able to see Friday. But as of right now, next Thursday is looking like mid 70s in the day and like 40s, 50s at night. Like such a dream. But if you're coming, pack some layers just in case. It's going to be incredible. I don't even have words. Like I'm so excited to get to see you all in person and for everything that we have lined up. I'm so grateful to all of Ashland who is ready to roll out the bloody red carpet for you. One of the reasons that the tech guy might not have finished his read is he has been working overtime on the mystery that I wrote that you're all going to have a chance to solve around town. He's done all of the art and design for the mystery, and that alone, I cannot wait. I am gonna try to like sneak around and like watch people doing it, but yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be so fun. We will try to pop in and do some quick updates, share videos, and quick little lives. I'm still waiting to hear about the potential of maybe some panels being live streamed, so cross your fingers, but we'll give you Ashland updates live from the Mystery Fest. And then we'll plan to do a recap and just a fun book chat on November 7th. And then November 14th, we'll do back-to-back Tuesdays in November because the rest of October I'm traveling. But we'll do book club November 14th. I will post a picture of both books tomorrow with the date. Normally I would give another week, but that next week is Thanksgiving. So that feels like, oh, that's hard on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving because we'll all probably be busy with families and baking and all of those things. Sharon, I'll never be able to sneak around. You don't know. I'm bringing a trench coat, my fedora, big sunglasses. You'll never know it's me. You'll never know. We don't need TBD. You'll need a whole hour. You think you want a whole hour of it? Okay. If you think so, you might be like, stop already. I don't want to see any more. Amanda, I am so giddy. I can't wait. I'm also so excited for like our entire group to get to meet in person, and I'm doing this. So if you don't want me to hug you, please tell me now. Try not to find any actual bodies, right? I know. It should be so fun. It's going to be a delight. And right now, it's looking like the weather is going to be great for us. But is there a chance that it could rain or sprinkle? Sure. So pack a raincoat just in case. Put on a fake mustache. Yeah, Tammy, I'll have like a Poirot style mustache and some oversized glasses. I'm on it. One of the panels that I'm most excited for, and I did not put myself on this panel because I want to see it in action, is that readers are going to team up with a bunch of the authors who are coming, and you're going to go all over town trying to either shake a tail or tail a suspect. So I cannot wait because I think there's going to be a lot of like, it's going to be so great. If you are coming to the kickoff event on Friday night, you'll get your clue to solve the mystery there. And if you're not coming, you can pick it up anytime throughout the weekend at Paddington Station. And then the mystery that you're solving is on your own. So it's completely self-paced. You have the entire weekend to solve it. I will tell you that it involves a character from the Bake Shop Mysteries who may be in peril. So get your sleuthing hats on because they're going to need your help. Bring a jacket. Yes, definitely bring a jacket. Don't bring an umbrella. If you come to Oregon, no umbrellas are allowed. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a joke in Portland. Like, the tourists, because they have umbrellas. They don't just have their hood up. But if you're an umbrella person, it's fine. You can bring an umbrella. Yeah, I think that's it. As always, this is just the most amazing group. Thanks for the intelligent, lively discussion. I hope you enjoyed some new cozy reads, and I'm looking forward to reading with you next month too. On that note, see you soon. Happy reading.